Hello, good afternoon, guys. Hope you all are doing well. Coming up with another chapter, coming with another chapter of Icse, that is absorption by roots. So this is the first part of absorption by roots. More part will be coming up. So please, guys, subscribe, share with your friends, with dear students, and keep on studying during the quarantine days or the lockdown days. Okay, so let's start off without wasting of time. Now, absorption by roots, we know absorption means to absorb something, that means to pull up something inside. So absorption by roots, in this particular chapter we will learn how the root absorb certain minerals, nutrients and water from the soil. So that is the particular thing we will learn in this chapter and the process involved in it. There are certain processes by which the roots absorb the water, and those we will learn about those processes in this particular chapter. So first of all, going on to the basics of the plants. So the plants are divided into two parts. Plants are divided into two parts: the part above soil, that is shoot, and the part below soil, that is root. So most of you, all of you know that a plant, it has been divided into two parts. The plant above the part above the soil is known as shoot, and the part below the root, below the soil, is known as root. Both the part work simultaneously for the development and growth of the plants. Now, without one part of the plant, there will be no development, proper development of the plant. Therefore, both the part is essential, that is root and shoot, and they work simultaneously for the proper growth and development of the plant body. Now, how does they work simultaneously? How does they perform different processes by which they help to grow? They help in growth and development of the plant body. The shoot system performs different physiological processes. Example: photosynthesis, transpiration, reproduction. Whereas the root provides support to the plant and also absorb water and other essential mineral from the soil. We know that for photosynthesis and transpiration, for both the cases, photosynthesis and transpiration, water is very essential, and that water is absorbed by the root. Thus both the shoot system and the root system, they work simultaneously in order to promote the growth and development of the plant body. Now, plants require water in various physiological process, along with being the constituent of protoplasm. Now, plant, they require water in different physiological processes. I already mentioned you that photosynthesis and transpiration, it is a physiological process, and in that particular processes they need water. So plants require water in various physiological processes, along with being the constituent of protoplasm. Now, protoplasm, we talk about protoplasm in our first previous classes also. Protoplasm is the living part of the cell, inside the cell, located or inbound by the cell membrane, where there are different type of granules, including cytoplasm, chromatin fiber, various food granules, and semi-solid jelly-like fluid. So all this contains the protoplasm, and one of the chief constituent is water. Water is also the constituent of protoplasm. Okay, so plant require water in various physiological process, along with being the constituent of protoplasm. Constituent of protoplasm, that means inside the cell. Now, moving on to the different physiological processes in which the water is required. Number one, photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Green leaves synthesize food. We will learn later in detail about photosynthesis. Just remember, green leaves synthesize food. Okay, that food means glucose, with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll from water and carbon dioxide. So here it is clearly mentioned that water. So during photosynthesis, what is required? Water. Green leaves synthesize food with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll from water and carbon dioxide. So water is clearly mentioned. So water is required during photosynthesis. And how does the water get into the green leaves? By the help of root. Okay. Number two, transpiration. During transpiration, the large amount of water is lost in the atmosphere in the form of water vapor through aerial parts of the plant. So the transpiration is required. Transpiration process, in during the transpiration process, what happens is that the the water content of the body is lost in the atmosphere in the form of water vapor through aerial parts of the plant. Aerial parts of the plant includes stem, leaves, flowers, etc. So all those from those parts, from those surface of the from those surface of the plant, that is leaf, stem, flowers, there is a constant loss of water in the form of water vapor, and that particular process is known as transpiration. Now why does the transpiration takes place? Why does the water comes out through the plant body? In order to maintain the body temperature of the plant. We know the latent heat of water, or the latent heat of water vapor is much more than the water. So what happens is that when the water vapor comes out, when the water is converted into water vapor during the transpiration, or when water comes out through the water vapor in the form of water vapor during transpiration, the body temperature of the plant goes down. Okay, so in order to maintain the body temperature of the plant, which we will learn, obviously learn in the next chapter, transpiration in detail. So in order to maintain the body temperature of the plant, transpiration is necessary. It's an essential process. Now transportation, we know transportation of food from leaves to other parts of the plant, and also the minerals and nutrients from the roots takes place by the help of water. So transportation is another process, and it is also it is also related with the water. Yeah, it is the water plays an important role in the transportation of food from leaves to other parts of the plant, and also mineral and nutrients from root to different parts of the plant. Okay, especially in the leaves. So in transportation also water is very essential. And number 4, mechanical function, to provide turgidity to the plant bearings, water is very essential. So we have already explained that in our plant, if somehow if we do not water that plant for so many long days, then what happens is that the plant will start rolling up, and it will lose its turgidity, it will get dry up, and eventually it will die. Thus, to maintain the turgidity, that means the water content of the cell, water is very essential. Okay, now moving on to the some characteristic features of roots for absorbing water. Okay, so characteristics of root for absorbing water, I have already made the diagram over here. You can see this is a, particular seed from which the root is developing, new root is developing. So the main particular part, the main part is the main root. So this is the main root, and corresponding to the main root, that means attached to the root, attached to the main root, there is small hair like structure that is known as root hairs. So characteristics of roots for absorbing water, there are some characteristic feature of root for absorbing water. So let us learn one by one. Number 1, surface area of root is enormous. We If we see by our naked eye, then we can only absorb this main root. But if we properly see, or if we see through the microscope or any of the magnifying glass, what we will see is that the surface area of root is enormous. You can see, if we take the root only without root hair, then the surface area is very little. But if we took the root hair, then the surface area becomes larger in this case. So surface area of root is enormous, as the root bears branches, and these branches also bears many small minute hair like structure known as root hairs. It covers a large surface area. So it is covering a large surface area from which it can easily absorb water and other along with water or the nutrient. Okay. Now moving on to the next characteristic feature of root, number 2, root hairs containing a solution at a concentration higher than that of surrounding soil water for endo osmosis. Endo osmosis, I might write again, endo osmosis. So root hairs containing a solution at a concentration higher than that of surrounding soil water. So this is a surrounding, suppose this is soil. Okay, so suppose this whole part is the soil, and this soil also contain, we know soil does contain water content, it contains water. So in order, number 2 is that root hairs containing a solution at a concentration higher than that of surrounding soil water. So the concentration if we compare the concentration in here, so water concentration and in here, then we will find that the water concentration higher than that of the, so in this case the root here, it has a higher concentration, it has a higher concentration, there is higher concentration of solution, whereas outside the root here there is a lower concentration of solution. As a result, what happens is that the water molecule get inside the root hair. Okay, the water molecule get inside the root hair in order to maintain the concentration, or in order to get into equivalent. Okay, equivalent means where there will be the concentration, the same concentration inside and outside the cell. But in this case, what happens is that the root hair constantly maintain the high concentration than the soil. As a result, what happens is that water will constantly get inside the root hair, get inside the root. A molecule will constantly get inside the root hair, and that particular process, because the water is getting inside the root hair, therefore that particular process is known as endo osmosis. We will learn the detail about endo osmosis later. And just to remember, endo means inside, getting in. Endo means getting in. Osmosis means the process of and the process or the movement of water molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration, from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. Okay, so the movement of water molecules from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration of solute, higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane. So we know root hair is actually the cell, and we know plant cell, it has got two type of membrane. The outer membrane is known as cell wall. And we have already learned about the cell wall. And cell wall, in cell wall we learned that it is semi permeable in nature. Okay, it's very very hard. Just a moment. So it is semi permeable in nature. So because the root hair contains the cell membrane, which is semi permeable in nature, and the water molecule is moving from the region of lower concentration to the higher concentration, this process is known as endoosmosis. You can see this is the root cells. Okay, cells. And from root there is a root hair coming up. You can see the development of root hair. Okay, this is a root hair. Understood? So this is a root hair, and root hair, because it is a plant cell, obviously it contains the cell wall. Okay, this outer part is the cell wall, this inner wall is the cell membrane, and you can see nucleus and the cytoplasm. These are vacuoles, etc. So cellular, this is the particular structure of a fully grown root hair. Cellular structure of fully grown root hair. I hope it is clear for you all. Now moving on to the next part, I have already mentioned, and I am again mentioning you, that if you have any problem regarding regarding understanding of any of the topic or explained by me, you can always write down in the ask the question in the comment section below, or comment. You can ask in comment section below, or you can inbox me. Okay, sorry, it's not in Facebook, so you can always mention in the comment section below. Okay, ask me questions so that I can understand if you are understanding or not. Now root hairs have thin cell walls. Now third point, or the third characteristic of the root hair is that for absorption of root water is that root hairs have thin cell walls in order to pass the water molecule along with other minerals inside the root cell. So I already told you that root hair it also contains cell wall. So this cell wall is very thin, very thin. So why? In order to let pass the water along with the, not only water, along with other minerals inside the root cell. Okay. Now, so absorption and conduction of water and minerals. Absorption and conduction of water and minerals. There are certain phenomena by which the absorption and conduction of water takes place. So, as we have already learned that uh, water conduction takes place in the from the root hair from the roots, and it is distributed to all the parts of the plant, especially leaves. And that particular process, the absorption and conduction of water, takes place by various processes, not only one, but there are various processes by which the conduction of water takes place. Okay, so the first one is known as imbibition, number 2 diffusion, number 3 osmosis, 4 active transport, and number 5 turgidity and flaccidity. We will learn about each of the process in details in the next and not in the next, but in the upcoming session. Okay, now okay, so let us understand imbibition. Okay, imbibition is a phenomenon by which the living or dead plants absorb water by surface attraction. You might get trouble in saying the writing portion, so please listen it carefully. Imbibition is a phenomenon by which the living or dead plants absorb water by surface attraction. Okay, so we have, before cooking gram in your home also, what we do is that gram seed, before cooking the gram seed, we soak overnight it in the water. So what does it do is that it absorbs water. So that particular process is known as imbibition. Okay, so what is imbibition? Is a phenomenon by which the living or dead plants absorb water by surface attraction. And even we feel that the doors are tighter in case in during the rainy season. Why? Because the doors absorb moisture and water by the process of imbibition, and it swells up. Thus the door become tight during this rainy season, while during the summer season it becomes light. Okay, so the imbibition is a phenomenon by which the living or dead plants absorb water by surface attraction. The substances made up of cellulose or protein. Again, I am repeating, you might have difficulty in saying the writing portion, as my marker finished up, so I had to come up with anyhow. So the substance made up of cellulose or protein are hydrophilic. So what do you mean by hydrophilic? Hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means, hydro means water and philic means loving. So those substances which are made up of cellulose or protein, they are water loving substances. That means they are hydrophilic. And cell wall of plants, we know cell of plants consist of two membrane. The outer one is known as cell wall and the inner one is cell membrane. So the outer cell wall of plants are made up of cellulose, thus they can easily absorb water from the surface. So how does imbibition takes place? Imbibition is a phenomenon by which living or dead plants absorb water by surface attraction, and those substances which are made up of cellulose, they are hydrophilic in nature, by which they can absorb water easily. As cellulose are hydrophilic and the cell wall of plants are made up of cellulose, thus they can easily absorb water through the imbibition. Okay, the example, dry seeds absorb water by such process. It is also very essential during germination of seeds. So why it is very essential during germination of seeds? When we put seed inside the soil for germination, what happens is that the seed absorb water by the process of imbibition. Okay, when the seed absorb water by imbibition, the cell becomes turgid, it swells up, and as a result the seed coat is break down, and thus the germination of the embryo takes place, or the germination of seed takes place. Thus imbibition is very important in case of seed germination. Okay, now moving on to the next part, it is known as diffusion. Okay, so diffusion is the free movement of molecules of substance from the region of the higher concentration to the region of the lower concentration when two are in direct contact. So remember one thing, in this case it is written as direct direct contact, not through the semi permeable membrane or permeable membrane or any kind of membrane, but through the direct contact. And from where? From the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Okay, so what does the movement of takes place? Movement of molecules of substance. The substance can be anything, from the region of their higher concentration, from the region to the region of the lower concentration when two are in direct contact. So in this case we can see that this is water, and I have made a diagrammatic flow. This is water and this is sugar. So in this case the sugar concentration is high. Dissolve it, the sugar concentration is higher concentration. Now this portion as the higher concentration, now I am adding some amount of water in this vessel. This concentration is lower concentration. This is lower concentrated area, and this is higher concentration area. Now the movement of molecules takes place from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, because it is in direct contact. There is no cell membrane or any kind of membrane over there, so any kind of semi permeable membrane or membrane. So it is in direct contact. The water and the solution is in direct contact. Thus the movement of concentration of sugar thus the movement of molecules from the higher concentration to the lower concentration takes place until and unless the water is in equivalent or the solution is equivalent. That means the concentration, it is of same concentration all over the vessel. So this is diffusion. So what is diffusion? Again, diffusion is the free movement, free, F-R-E-E. Diffusion is the free movement of molecules of substance from the region of their higher concentration to the region of lower concentration when two are in direct condition. Okay, so finally the last part. Okay, I think we have another chapter. Okay, so again, so the movement of molecules occurs until the solution of mixture is formed of equal concentration. Okay, so this is equal concentration. So the movement of molecules, I don't know. So the movement, please listen carefully, because you may find difficulty in understanding the written portion. So please listen carefully. The movement of molecules occurs until the solution or mixture is formed of equal concentration or homogeneous mixture. I already told you that during diffusion what happens, the movement of molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of low concentration takes place until and unless the solution is homogeneous solution, or the solution until the solution is homogeneous solution or of the equal concentration. So what do you mean by homogeneous? Homo means same and gene means material includes solvent or molecules. Okay, so until and unless the whole liquid contain the equal number or equal concentration, the movement of molecules takes place, and that particular process is known as diffusion. I hope it is clear, and I am again repeating you, please mention in the comment section below, or mention in the comment section below if you don't understand anything or you have any question regarding the chapter. Okay, so final part of the chapter, that is osmosis, not final part but final part of this episode, osmosis. So what is osmosis? There is a very little difference between the osmosis. Please understand carefully. Osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules. So it is also the diffusion. Okay, diffusion of water molecules across a semi-permeable membrane. Across a semi-permeable membrane. Across a semi-permeable membrane. across a semi-permeable membrane from a more dilute solution to a less dilute solution. From a more dilute solution to a less dilute solution. More dilute means less concentration, and less dilute means more concentration. Okay, higher concentration. So in this case, what happens is that, okay, so movement of water molecules across a semi-permeable membrane from a region of more dilute solution. More dilute solution means less concentration. More dilute solution means less concentration. Okay, and less dilute solution means high concentration, dilute. So if it is less dilute, then it is highly concentrated, and if it is more diluted, that means it is less concentration or low concentration. So osmosis is also like the diffusion, but the movement of molecules takes place from the region of water molecules takes place from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. Okay, less dilute to more dilute, more dilute solution to the less dilute solution, that is less concentration to the higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane. It is very important point, through semi-permeable membrane, whereas diffusion occurred by the direct contact process, whereas in case of osmosis it is through semi-permeable membrane. You can easily see less concentration and high concentration. Concentration means less dilute solution, concentration means more dilute solution, more dilute solution means large number of water molecule. So water molecule is moving from the lower concentration area to the higher concentration area until and unless, through semi permeable membrane, until and unless the concentration in both the sides become equal. The concentration in both the sides become equal. So this particular process is known as osmosis. What it is known as? It is known as osmosis. Okay, so the movement of water molecule from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane. You can write the definition alternate. You can write any of the definition. Okay, so whichever you find easy, you can write it on your own. Is it clear? So last finally, so there are two types of osmosis. Osmosis includes endo osmosis and exo osmosis. Endo means inward and exo means outward. So endo osmosis, it is the process by which the water molecule enter inside the cell, by which the cell swells up. Okay, so when the water molecule enter inside this cell, suppose this is a cell, and when the water molecule enter inside the cell, it inflates a little bit. It inflates, that means it increases in the size, so it swells up. So that particular process is known as endosmosis. The osmosis taking the water molecule entering inside the cell, whereas exosmosis means it is the process by which the water molecule moves out of the cell through semi-permeable membrane, out of the cell, or moves out of the cell through semi-permeable membrane. Is it clear? So endo means inward flow of water molecule and exo means outward flow of water molecule. Now in the next class we will learn about the active transport and some of the experiment related details in our next video. I will upload in my next video. So stay tuned guys, stay safe, study at home, and try to make the notes with the explanation given by me, and you can refer the book and you can solve the questions which are given at the end of your chapter. Okay, so please try to study regularly and with the equal concentration to all the chapters. Thank you so much. Stay tuned, share, subscribe as much as you can, subscribe and share as much as you can, and if you have any questions you can ask in the comment section below. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.